All right, y'all, it's gonna be a real quick video. We're just doing a couple doors here today at the Rhino shop, so I just wanted to go over my paint setup. Maybe this will help explain to some of you guys what needs to happen to be able to quickly and easily paint something like this little small project. So these are some hard doors for my CJ7. I've got a little bit of filler right there, you can see, and I've sanded these down with 400 grit. I started with 240, just kind of knocked all the old rattle can and got it down to factory primer, and then went over it with 400. So I've got it all taped up. That's basically what you see here. Nothing fancy, you know. I'm sure you guys know how to do Bondo. It's not rocket science. So that's both doors. We've got them suspended with the forklift here, and then on that little rolling cart with some saran wrap on there, but nothing fancy, just getting it done. So let's move over here to the paint setup. So this is my 20-gallon Campbell Housefeld compressor. It's 3.5 horsepower, and it's doing 7.9 CFM at 40 PSI. So that's about, well, we're about 65. And fool around with your settings. It's going to depend on if you're using HVLP or LVLP. For this one, this is an Intertool Storm LVLP gun. I've got the compressor set at 65 PSI, and we have it running at about 40 PSI at the gun. But if you watch here, it'll drop down about 15 PSI, which is right where we wanted. So that's not manufacturer spec, but that's where it seems to perform well with some of these thicker primers. So right here's the product we're going to be using. This is, if I can get it. So our first coat's going to be just a sealer. This is epoxy primer sealer gray by Speedo Coat. It's pretty good stuff. It's not super high solid content, so it's not going to fill really well, which is why I hit it with the 400 grit. So we're going to use that just to seal any of the base coat isotopes from penetrating into this old paint and lifting it off. So we'll spray a first coat of this. We're gonna let that flash for 5 to 10 minutes. Then we'll spray a second coat just to fill in some of those little imperfections, and then let it dry. And then we'll wait 30 minutes, and then we'll start doing our base coat. So one thing that'll help you guys out, make it a little bit easier on you guys, is this 3M disposable cup system. It's kind of a pain in the rear using this thing that it comes with. It just comes with one cup. So if you're going to be doing multiple colors, like a sealer, a base coat, and a clear coat, it's definitely helpful to have this. You won't have to rinse your cup out every time. This just has a little disposable liner, so after you're done, you just toss in the trash, you're good to go. So as again, this is a 3M product, but I've bought this adapter here to work with my LVLP gun. So makes it a lot easier, and just makes cleanup a whole lot easier. It makes it less of a headache to be able to paint something small like this, you know, especially since you're not doing a whole car. So anyways, let's get some paint mixed up. Oh yeah, one other thing, we're at the Rhino shop today, but this is kind of my makeshift air ventilation system. So I have these two exhaust fans, for lack of a better word, and then this piece of wood here that's just going to kind of help direct the airflow. So when we actually get to painting, I'm going to open this bay door up about a foot, and then that'll pull all of the overspray out so you don't make a mess, and it'll also keep you from getting dry spray on your fresh paint. So gonna get some primer mixed up in just a minute. That's a setup. Today's video is sponsored by Rhino USA. Let me use their forklift and some of their power and equipment and stuff to get this job done. So let's get to painting. All right, we got the first coat on. I didn't film it because I was kind of fooling around with my fan pattern and liquid settings and whatnot. So kind of getting the hang of it. I hadn't used this gun in a minute, but it went on pretty smooth. The lighting sucks in here. I don't know if you guys can tell. So this side, I didn't get as good of coverage as I would have liked because I can't really see what I'm doing. The light is like right there. So anyways, I got my flashlight and my respirator. Always wear a respirator. This stuff's low VOC, but it's still 2.1 VOC, which is enough to do some damage if you do it a lot. So just be careful with this stuff, you know, wear your PPE. Anyways, enough of that. So I got like another minute for this to flash. So we're doing 5 minutes to 10 minutes between coats for flash time. And then we're gonna let this sit for 30 minutes before we do a base coat. So I'm still gonna do another 2 coats of this epoxy just to fill in some of the little scratches and imperfections, but we're gonna bring you guys along for this pass. So let me get my respirator on and we'll get to it. All right, here we go. Here's my gun stand. Old forklift, nothing fancy around here. Again, sorry for the lighting. I'm gonna try and keep my ass out of it. Like a kick, that's alright. Alright, so there you go. There's coat number 2. I also wanted to tell you guys, I started this at about 6 o'clock. It's 6:20 right now. So just so you can get an idea of timing your coats, it's very important so you don't have lifting and you have good adhesion. So we're going to be doing a sealer, a base coat, and a clear coat tonight. So I just wanted to let you guys know about the time frame. So we're starting to get good coverage. You can see there's a couple little nooks back in there that I still have to get, but the majority of them are getting covered. It's going to make it so it's all the same tone, so to speak, and you'll have good color. You won't have like blotches where you see body filler or primer showing through. It makes it all one color so that the base coat lays down really nice. So that's that. Gonna do 2 more coats of this. I won't bore you guys with that. I'm sure you're tired of watching me spray primer, and we'll check back in with you guys when we're mixing up the base coat. All right, y'all, so the DTM primer is dry. We're now gonna move on to our base coat. This is an Omni acrylic, so this is just gonna be just the base coat. There's no hardener in this. So it's a Diplomat metallic blue. I don't even know if this paint's good anymore. It was like 10 years old and it's been sitting on a shelf in my garage for that long. We saved it when we painted the Jeep a long time ago, basically. So now I'm gonna try and use it to color match these doors. I don't know how it's gonna turn out. We've got old paint, and we also had, I don't wanna say a gun malfunction, but it just, the DTM primer got all over this gun. So I don't know what happened. I think I pulled the needle out before I really cleaned it. I just was not paying attention and screwed it up. Anyway, so we'll see if that affects the base coat. Now, as I mentioned, there's no hardener, so the hardener is going to be in the clear coat. So we're just going to fill about 12 ounces of base coat in there, and that should be enough to get pretty good coverage. I did 16 on the DTM primer and had a bunch left over. So yeah, we're gonna do 12. That way I still have, if the paint's good, a little bit left over to do a couple more things. As you can see, I got a huge mess going on here, but it'll all clean up. I put down my cardboard and stuff knowing, you know, that there would be a mess. So anyways, let me get some paint in this gun, and then we're gonna move on to base coat. So stick with me. All right, here we go. First coat of base coat. I needed to get a little bit closer, it looks like. You can see it's not like right here, it's kind of darker, and then up here it's like light, less dark. So my gun wasn't close enough. This one definitely is a lot less thick than the other stuff, so I'm gonna have to pay special attention to laying this stuff down a little bit more consistently. But anyways, we'll get another wet coat on there, and that should even everything out. This is just gonna tack it up, so we'll give it 5 minutes, and then, sorry, I got my respirator on. I was starting to get tripping balls off of all the paint fumes, so I'm gonna come outside. There's the red rocket over there, but yeah, painting this up. So gonna give it 5 minutes to flash, and then we're gonna do a wet coat, and then we're gonna follow it up with a mist coat to even out all the metallics. I don't know if I mentioned it, it is a metallic paint, so yeah, that's where we're at with it. And the good news is the gun seems to be spraying fine even after we had our little epoxy primer fiasco, so that's all well and good. All right, here we go, wet coats. All right, so there it is. There's our final coat. Came out pretty good. Let me get a flashlight on it. The metallics are even. The only thing I don't know is I might have held my gun too far back for the dust coat. It might have gotten a little bit of eggshell, but whatever. We're not professional body workers by any means. We're just some amateurs out here trying to build cool stuff on a budget. So yeah, we're gonna let this tack up for another 14 minutes and 28 seconds, and then we're gonna lay some clear to it. So the product that we're gonna be using for the clear is something, I've used Starfire paints before. They're pretty decent for the price, I'd say, for what we're trying to do here. So that's our clear. And then we also have a Let's see what we got here. Medium reducer and the wet look hardener. So this will hopefully make it really shiny and bitchin'. Which you typically do get the shine from the clear coat in a 2-stage system. So, I'm saying that based on the YouTube videos I've watched. I've never painted a 2-stage, to be honest. So this is a first for me. But from what I've read and what I've watched on YouTube, it's supposed to look something like this. And then you put the hardener and the clear coat on it and it shines it right up and everything looks sweet. So that's basically what's going to go down here. They didn't provide a technical data sheet, which kind of pissed me off. But the acrylic enamel that I used on the Gladiator was the same brand, and you can see I wrote the mix ratio on the top of my paint box. So it was 8 parts paint, 2 parts reducer to 1 part hardener. So that's what we're going to do with this. I'm tired of huffing in paint fumes anyways, so lots to do. I'm actually leaving for Panama City Beach tomorrow for the Jeep Jam for Rhino work. So, you know, we got a bunch of stuff going on. You can see the Rhino Express is back there, and yeah, just staying busy. So as soon as these are clear coated, I got to do 3 coats of clear with 5 to 10 minute flash time for each coat. I'm gonna set those, just let them dry, go get a bite to eat for dinner, come back, take them off the racks, and go stick them somewhere. Pull the Rhino Express back in so no one steals all of our stuff over the middle of the night, and that's gonna be basically it. So yeah, let me get back in here. We're gonna go ahead and mix our clear coat up, and then we're gonna get to spraying here in like 10 minutes or so. All right, y'all. Here's a little update. So basically what happened is, I don't exactly know what happened, but if you can see in the exhaust fan, there's all those like what looks like spider webs. Well, on my the third pass with the clear, it like basically shot cotton candy all over the doors. So it was like it was way too thick. It was just totally resinous, and I don't know what happened. The 2 things that I called one of my buddies who's actually a paint and body technician from Caliber, and he told me either your paint's too thick or there is not any paint coming out because of the vacuum in this disposable cup system. So I did 2 things. One, I added another 2 ounces of reducer, which seemed to help tremendously. So I think maybe my guesstimate on the mix ratio was off. I don't know exactly. And 2, I've been turning the gun upside down to let air into the bag. And as you can see, it's actually turned out decent. I thought we were going to be screwed for a minute there because literally the whole bottom half of the door, I don't know, we still might even be screwed. But like from that, where that hinge is right there, all the way across, it literally looked like cotton candy exploded all over it. So hopefully, I just sprayed over the top of it, hoping that it would just like evaporate with all the solvents and kind of lay down flat. So we'll see if that ends up happening. Oh well, you know, that'll show you guys that it's not, you know, all sunshine and rainbows when you're doing amateur hour stuff like this. Watching, hope y'all enjoyed watching me try, fail, and eventually succeed at paint body work. So maybe it'll teach you guys a thing or two, and y'all be feel confident trying it on yourselves. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, y'all. Jeeps, and more Jeeps and Jeep shirts. That's what we've been doing today. So I figured I'd do a little shop tour, see what we got going on. You can see the Gladiator there behind me is shining up on the hill, and here's my CJ. So this morning what we did was, here, let me spin the camera around and show you. I just want to film a quick intro. This morning what we did was we put a manual water temperature gauge on here. It just plugs into the side of the block. For any of those wondering, this is an AMC 327. And we were originally thinking we might have some overheating issues. It turns out we just have a bad gauge that's reading hot all the time. And then we got it running. We just got to set the dwell. So that was one thing I was working on this morning. Then, of course, the battery died, and anyways, that was convenient timing because we had to go to the Southern CJ Jeep sale and swap meet. and link a couple of clips in of cool little J20. It's got some nice pinstriping. Got the old school natural light box tucked back there. Anyways, so now it's a little bit hot out there. We're getting back in the shade. We're going to be working on the CJ for the rest of the afternoon. And this is what's going on here. We were driving this thing down the freeway on the way back from Jeep Fest not too long ago. And the bikini top rail, this thing right here, actually like pulled out of the channel and the hole's stripped out. So we're going to be drilling a new bar to go in the top of the windshield. Right up here, you can see where I've been doing a little bit of work with my dad. He put JB Weld in there and just stopped the holes up. So I'm going to drill and tap those, and then we'll bolt this new piece on here, and we'll have a bikini top in it again. All right, and there she is with the top on her. Got the roof channel installed, as you can see there. That little budget part, got it painted up, and we only give $20 for it, which I thought was a good deal. So that's what it looks like with those hard doors that I painted, and then the soft top on there. Pretty clean little rig.